Hey guys, it's Tony. Today we're talking about quadratic formula. As you can see, I wrote the formula on the board equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, so the formula, once you memorize this, is actually pretty easy. We just kind of plug in. So the next thing we need to do is identify when we need to use this formula. And you're going to use it whenever you see the form ax squared plus bx plus c that cannot be simply factored. So if you can't factor it out easily, you're going to have to use a quadratic form. So how we identify the a's, b's, and c's, you might be wondering. For example, we'll take x squared plus 8x plus 15, and this is in this form. It's a second degree polynomial. We know that because it's got an exponent of 2 as the highest exponent, followed by 1, followed by no variable. Okay, so a, we know there's a 1 in front of there. So there's a, there's b, and there's c. They're in front of the variable. They're the constants in front of the variable. 15 doesn't have 1. Or it could be x to the 0, so it's not there. So a equals 1, b equals 8, c equals 15. And then what we do is we simply just plug that into the formula, which I'm about to show you broken down. Okay, so I've rewritten this to allow us a little bit more room. Here's the formula, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And we're simply now going to plug these numbers into that formula. Okay, we got x equals a negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 8 squared minus 4 times a is 1, c is 15, all that over 2 times a, which is 1. Alright, so that's what it looks like, and the rest is simply arithmetic. Okay, so let's simplify this a bit. We got 8 plus or minus the square root of 8 squared, 8 times 8 is 64, minus 4 times 1 times 15 is 60, minus 60 all over 2. Okay, so this equals negative 8 plus or minus the square root 64 minus 60, excuse me, is 4 all over 2. Okay, so we're going to go over here, and you got negative 8 plus or minus, well, the square root of 4 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So it's plus or minus 2 over 2. Now this is actually two different problems, so we break it up, and you got negative 8 plus 2 over 2, and you got negative 8 minus 2 over 2. And then if you do that arithmetic, negative 8, excuse me, plus 2 is negative 6 over 2. Negative 6 over 2 is negative 3. And negative 8 minus 2 is negative 10. Negative 10 over 2 is a negative 5. So x equals 0 at negative 3 and negative 5. Okay, so we're going to take a look at another example, x squared plus 8x plus 12. We're going to see if we can't simply just factor that without using the quadratic formula. So we look at the factors of 12. 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. And of course we just look to see what can be multiplied to equal 12. Positive positive equals a positive 12. Positive 3 and positive 4 will not add up to be 8. 2 and 6, positive positive equals 12. Positive positive, when you add them, equals 8. So we know that that's going to work, 2 and 6. So let's go ahead and write that. X plus 2 x plus 6. X equals 0 at negative 2, negative 6. Okay, so we know that x is going to equal 0 at negative 2 and negative 6. But to prove that quadratically, let's go ahead and solve this using the formula. Okay, you get a negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 8 squared minus 4 times a is 1 times c is 12 all over 4 times a is 1. Okay, now we're going to simplify. Negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 64 minus 4 times 1 times 12 is 48. So it's 64 minus 48, which is 16 over 2 times, or excuse me, I made a mistake there. That's supposed to be 2 times 1, not 4. Okay, so 2 times 1 is 2. All right, let's move this over here. So we got a negative 8 plus, the square root of 16 is 4 over 2, and we also have a negative 8 minus square root of 16, which is 4 over 2. We do this arithmetic and we find out that that is negative 4 over 2. Negative 4 over 2 equals a negative 2. And negative 8 minus 4 is a negative 12. Negative 12 over 2 is a negative 6. So again, we find out that x equals 0 when, or at negative 2 and negative 6, which is what we found out over there a lot faster. That's it.